Now, on 105.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app. O'Connor and Company.
It's 7:37. It's O'Connor and Company here, and a busy day coming off that debate between Abigail Spanberger and Winsome Sears. We're going to discuss it at 8:35 with Governor Glenn Youngkin. Also, before that, we're going to speak with Caroline Glick out of Jerusalem. She is, in fact, part of the advisory council there for Prime Minister Netanyahu. That's all coming up. It's Larry O'Connor with Patrice Onwuka. Good morning, Patrice.
Good morning. Happy Friday, everybody.
Yeah, it's not a Friday if you're part of the Spanberger team. She hopes she can play out the clock here. We shall see. We shall see. Joining us right now, Christian Datoc. He's a White House correspondent for the Washington Examiner. And like all White House correspondents, he is, exhausted and getting about 3 hours sleep these days with the unbelievable pace the president has been on for the last, really since he was inaugurated. Christian, how you doing? Are you holding up okay? You drinking lots of caffeine?
I'm doing all right, Larry. You know, the sleepless nights come with the territory, so yes. I've grown accustomed to being bleary-eyed at the end of the week. But thanks for having me today.
The good news is all these White House correspondents have 4 years of rest and relaxation when Biden was in the White House, right? That was so we're making up for lost time. All right, much to get to. Yesterday we had another one of these cabinet meetings. What were the high points from your perspective? What really got the headlines? Was there anything new revealed at this cabinet meeting?
Well, it really was, the president's opportunity to take a victory lap on these negotiations for peace in Gaza. He led at the top of his remarks with that. And to be quite honest, he sort of asked the cabinet members to keep it brief so that we could get to questions quickly, which, to be quite frank, we all appreciated. That last cabinet meeting was over 3 hours long. So this one was a much easier event to cover. But it truly was, more or less all eyes on Gaza, even though we are amidst a government shutdown right now here in D.C.
Well, let's pick up on the government shutdown right now. The White House has been really, I think their meme game has been pretty strong, number one, but also in really trying to hold Democrats' feet to the fire as the Democrat shutdown. We have seen, though, this week President Trump kind of say, maybe we can negotiate on the Obamacare subsidies for the wealthy that the Democrats are trying to, sacrifice poor people for. Do you see that there's been any message change there, or, do you feel like the White House is still talking with Republican leadership in trying to move the ball forward, or we're just kind of in a hold pattern?
I don't really see much of a difference in the White House's messaging, Patrice, but you mentioned Republican leadership. It sounds like Leader Thune is potentially exploring an off-ramp now with Democrats to try and bring this shutdown to an end ahead of next week's deadline to where our military members, won't be forced to work without pay. That's obviously something that's high on everyone's mind right now. Our enlisted troops and, of course, the federal air traffic controllers, those people, as of next Wednesday, I want to say, will be working without pay. And there are concerns that this could, wreak havoc on the country. I do think it's important to delineate that, the messaging battle, I do think, appears to be currently won by President Trump and his allies. You look back to last Tuesday, and traditionally, of course, Republicans are generally viewed, at least in the public eye, as the party, obstructing government or shutting down the government. But it's slowly started to shift over the last week. And, I would say Democrats in most polls still hold an advantage, but that margin is shrinking compared to where we were heading into the shutdown or on October 1st.
What are the plans for the president to go to the Middle East to sort of preside over ceremonies with regard to the official implement of this peace plan?
Larry, this is still a fluid situation, and the White House is keeping some of these details close to the vest for security reasons. But what we know is that the president will travel to Egypt on Sunday. He'll arrive there Monday local time, more than likely, and he's going to take part in an official signing ceremony. Now, this document, of course, has already been signed. Otherwise, we wouldn't have seen the IDF and Hamas, reduce their hostilities and end the violence. But Donald Trump, along with some of these other Arab leaders who he really has lauded as being critical to negotiating this peace, they'll all be in attendance. And then the president plans to travel to Israel. He's going to deliver an address to the Knesset, their parliament, so to speak. And the one big question we don't know is, will the president actually travel to Gaza? We've heard flirtings that he might. He had said as much himself at the White House on Wednesday that he could do that. But you also have some officials behind the scenes saying there's absolutely no way we can let the president go to Gaza, even with this peace plan in place, just because of the concerns that, like they have in the past, this could break down and that we are still in the extremely preliminary phases of what's going to be a prolonged and, to be quite frank, tense move towards a normalization of relations in the region. But all things considered, this is a huge development, a major positive development. Everyone wanted to see this war end and Hamas removed from power, and of course the remaining hostages released. Yeah. And the president didn't win the Nobel Peace Prize on Friday right now, but I spoke to a couple of Democrats on Thursday who even said, maybe this makes him a shoo-in for next year.
We'll see. Honestly, as long as Yasser Arafat can call himself a Nobel Peace Prize winner, I don't think it's worth much. That said, listen, release of the hostages, peace in our time, government shutdown. Christian, you're bearing the lead. Columbus Day is back. What was that moment like?
How silly of me to forget the most important story of the day. No, I mean, Columbus Day is back. I, as a child of the 90s, my mind immediately started jumping to all the Sopranos memes that were getting blasted around Twitter. But it's not just Columbus Day, Larry. Let's give some shine to our fellow Vikings out there. He also signed a proclamation recognizing Leif Erikson Day. So a big day for European-based explorer holidays. Nothing really serious here, but I'm sure there are some Italian Americans in New Jersey and New York who are friends with Trump or have known him for a long time, who've been pushing him to do this.
Oh, I know there are.
After the Biden administration.
Leif Erikson Day. Leif Garrett Day maybe might be more fit. Leif Erikson Day. What do we care about the Vikings? They don't even have a quarterback right now. I don't know.
Ooh, that's tough.
Christian Datoc, Washington Examiner. Thanks.
Thank you,
Get
Christian.
some rest and get back to work. Thank you, sir.
Thanks,
it's 7:44.